Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, we are taking the third principle of spiritual equality and material difference. The Gaudiya Vaishnava theology offers a clear conceptual model to address the issue of unity and diversity. Prabhupada will define like this in a letter to Kirtananda in 1973. Material nature means dissension and disagreements, especially in this Kali Yuga. But for this Krishna conscious movement, its success will depend on agreement, even though there are varieties of engagements. If we keep Krishna in center, then there will be agreement in varieties. This is called unity in diversity. We have preference on different kinds of engagement, but engagements of different kind do not come in a way of developing Krishna consciousness. And therefore, underlying principle should be agreement rather than dissension. But we put our interest prioritizing and try to make our occupation or our way of understanding, our way of estimating anything in our little tiny, also not fertile brain, a different perception. So we differ. Of course, it is said, tunde tunde matirvinna. In every cranium, there is a different ideology. So, no two heads are going to be alike. There will be differences in approach, in solution, in anything, there will be a difference. But that is the uniqueness of individuality. We are different living entities. We have nothing common except only one. That in each of our hearts, the common denominator of Paramatma is non-different. He is all-pervading. Otherwise, as Atma, we have our own experiences, all perceptions, all different way of thinking, feeling, and even acting. No two individuals are physically alike. Even in women and women, or men and women, and men and men. And now more problems are coming with transgenders. Nothing is alike. So, because Paramatma is the common denominator in each and every living entity's heart, it is possible on that level to unite everybody. Or, in other words, even though we have different ideologies of different thoughts or whatever it is, yet if we keep Krishna in center and apply all the thoughts in his service, there will be unity. This is the principle. We have variegated engagements, whether it is according to our aptitude or given to us even though we do not fit in there, because we have our ideology different than even our superior who is trying to give that engagement. Nonetheless, if we use everything in service of Krishna, that ideology, that service opportunity, that, whatever we know, then use that know-how. Even if we do not know, make a do-it-yourself kind of literature and you will do it. There is nothing impossible. that venue is open. So diversification can be only united in service of Krishna. Unity is dependent upon whether our common denominator, Lord Krishna, is satisfied or not. Pandavas worked for Lord Krishna's desire. They cooperated, each and everyone. The devotees know how to cooperate. Non-devotees do not cooperate. Non-devotees do not cooperate. But the devotees know how to cooperate. So, this is the simple formula that Srila Prabhupada gave. He is writing further, remember the story in Aesop's fables of the father of many children with the bundle of sticks? When the father asked his children to break the bundle of sticks, none of them could do it. But one by one, the sticks were easily broken. If we are bunched up, we can never be broken. But when divided, then we can become broken very easily. Men and women exhibit general physical and psychological differences that need to be acknowledged as practical realities while simultaneously avoiding rigid and or unhealthy stereotypes. Previously, by the subjugation of male dominance, women thinking, oh, we will be sitting at home, doing nothing, all right? And we feel inferior this way, that way. But no. That look should be given an alternative to look into the fact of harmonizing. Instead of playing distorted roles that are not conducive to our constitutional position, rather they have been generated by our conditioning. So the answer will lie upon our self-correction, right? So we can, without compromising this principle, will be remaining united. In a morning walk conversation, Srila Prabhupada tells, by nature, woman's body is different from man's. The occupations are different. Just like the leg is walking and the head is directing. So, although the occupation is different, both of them are important. We require head and leg also. If simply head is there, if there is no leg, then who will walk? This is the understanding, not equal. Everyone must have his separate duties to serve the whole. That is the arrangement. This is real understanding. Understand. Modern sinful culture forces us into an artificially distorted role play between the sexes. Man is afraid to be sensitive, compassionate or caring, but because he does not develop the gentle side of himself, he does not become a whole person. The female learns to give up her identity, suppresses her initiative, and becomes passive. She is not a whole person either. As a result, society functions in extremely unbalanced and fragmented way. The conclusion is there. When two incomplete personalities come together, the result is not wholeness, but greater frustration. Two needy people cannot make each other happy. Does it make? This is a very important understanding for the fractionation of the marriage system. Two whole personalities who come together have the opportunity to develop a strong relationship. They are not excessively dominant or dependent, nor do they manipulate each other to shore up their own insecurities.
Can you explain what the term whole personalities means? Like, elaborate that term, whole personality.
The whole personalities means one who has developed the equality on the basis of spirituality and work out with the acceptance of the limitations because of bodily difference. Do not try to take over the functionality of each other. Like there is a case going on in Brisbane. The father is artificially taking disadvantage of some minor situation of mother who is career-oriented and trying to discipline her children, boomerang against her, that the kids have fancy to lie and created a sin that was becoming a psychological case against the mother. The school authorities decided that the children are abused by the mother, and therefore the psychological report came that children are not safe in the household. So, the father artificially wants to take over the role of the mother and takes the disadvantage of his disagreement, and mother is completely deprived. She hasn't done much, but this is the artificial, distorted role play is going on under the pretense. The father must remain intelligent and try to correct the situation rather than take disadvantage of the situation for his gain. He will gain the property, he will gain the children. Who the hell cares of the mother? As if mothers do not require. Mother is not required. Children may show this symptom because of their habitual lying. Children have fancy to make up stories, even though it is not true. And they relate to their teachers in the school more than their parents. Parents can't take it for granted. Rather, they have a right to inquire into. Say at the age of, say, 6 or 7, because in the school they are habituated to learn the Cinderella make-believing stories, so they start make-believing within their purview what is coming. If parents are fighting, then they try to make a fancy. Because their imagination is going on, even though they may not be able to communicate in the terms of adults. But nonetheless, psychologically, they make stories, which are not true. and that jeopardizes the marriage. The children also become culprit, not knowing that in future what will happen. And if the father gets another wife, what will happen to them? So, distorted role-playing means people have deficiency. So there are two incomplete people coming together. They are in need of happiness each other. Do you think they will make each other happy? Or they will make worse of it? Artificial or distorted role-playing. When two incomplete personalities come together, the result is not wholeness. People are deficient, they do not know the art of living. The result is not wholeness but greater frustration. Two needy people cannot make each other happy, because none is willing to sacrifice for other. Two whole personalities who come together have the opportunity to develop strong relationships. Two whole personalities who come together have the opportunity to develop strong relationship. They are not excessively dominant or dependent, nor do they manipulate each other to shore up their own insecurities.
Maharaj, normally, like people are incomplete, like no one is like whole personality in a sense. So how do we understand this? Normally we think like two incomplete personalities come together and complement each other.
Right, because of lack of Vedic education. They have been incomplete. You cannot become complete by physical growth or simply developing mental desires, so-called maturity. Physical maturity has nothing to do with the value system of life. That culture has to be imparted either by tradition from the families, but most of the incompleteness come under the peer pressure. Peer pressure becomes responsible to make us more incomplete, because there the mode of passion and ignorance become predominant and puts us into wrong habits and so forth. Yesterday, those who attended this particular class, how many of you attended peer pressure course? Oh my God. Can I repeat? Huh? It has a place in this, so we'll see. Okay? Hang around. So, we have to be sensitive that what does the wholeness mean? Wholeness should include both spiritual and material. Material means social, interactive, or at a workplace. But that does not contribute towards a healthy married life for the purpose that we have seen as the instructions of Narad Muni. Okay.
Sorry, Maharaj. You mentioned like the coming from the family traditions. It's not really wanted to ask you, what is the role of Vedic tradition, which is Vedic astrology, in...
It will come. It will come. It's only a fragment of the real issue. Okay. Let's understand this. In males, distorted role like aggressive instead of initiative, competitive instead of courageous, abusive instead of discernment, controlling or dominating instead of decisive action tempered with love. You can see the positive side and negative side. The choice is coming from the effect of the modes of material nature that we have been associating with. You follow? Distorted role play are the result of the inferior modes of material nature. It means we have to come out from it. So similarly in female, we see females, when they are discouraged, they go negative. They want to give up their identity. The first one said, it's better to die instead of living with you. Give up your identity. Suppress initiative. Rather become compassionate. Real compassion is a quality coming from Krishna, invested in female. Kshama, forgiveness. Krishna is telling that these are the 5 virtues I am situated in females. Teja, Kshama, Dhruti, Kshanti. Better utilize that. Passive nature, rather her activity according to her physical and mental psyche will be nurturing and caring. Increase that. If one feels abused, become intuitive. So you will gain respect. Treated as chattel, she is not an ordinary object to be used and thrown away, disposal. No. If she inspires, then her value system will increase. Deprived rights rather become receptive. Why? Don't risk your safety. Hell with the rights. I want to secure my safety, security. If rights are guaranteed, it can be utilized at any given opportunity, but not at the risk of our security. If one feels dependent and weak, no, you contribute so much, but remain submissive. Again, not to jeopardize your security. We gain respect by becoming respectful. It's not on demand. Hey, I am your wife. Tell them to respect me. Behave, Baba. Don't become aggressive too. Okay. What Srila Prabhupada say? Just like our women, Krishna conscious, they are working. They don't want equal rights with men. It is due to Krishna consciousness. They are cleansing the temple, they are cooking very nicely, they are satisfied. They never say that I have to go to Japan for preaching like Prabhupada. They never say this is artificial. So Krishna consciousness means to work in his constitutional position. What is the constitutional position? Jivera swarupa hoire Krishnera nitya das, Krishnera tatashta shakti, bhed aveda prakash. Right? We are constitutionally subservient to Lord Krishna. So, don't become so much bodily attached. In competition, if a woman is always thinking of men either in hateful manner or attached manner, next life she will be given opportunity to become man. Similarly, Yoshitam Sangi Sangam, one who is attached to women, or one who is attached to men who are attached to women, they will always become women in the next life. This is how Puranjan is changing sex. But Kali Yuga, you can change sex anytime. Transgender. Artificial. It means they are unfortunate, they cannot take up Krishna consciousness because too much bodily attachment. They can't think beyond the body. One who is bodily attached cannot think of Krishna because he is not the body. This limited physical world is largely one of frustration, depression, anxiety and gloom, in which we live from day to day, longing for the pleasure and ecstasy we know are available somewhere. If it is not in Melbourne, okay, people go to Brisbane. We ask frantically, where is that love? Lonely and depressed, we know something is wrong with us because we just cannot seem to find what we are seeking. So what's wrong? Imagine that someone said to you, I want to send you to an interesting place if it is where people constantly kill each other. The race fight with one another. The tribe struggles against each other. And men and women compete against one another. It will be a chaotic place, isn't it? It's not normal. It's becoming abnormal place. Suffering is an inherent aspect of being born into this material world. So, who suffers more? Tell me. Men or women? Both. But why both?
Because they are attached.
That's correct. Because of the bodily attachment. So in that consider, who is more bodily attached? Wow, big laugh coming. No. Yes, we are given proper protection because of the bodily attachment. Fine. But next lifetime, it is your turn, propose, then we will laugh at you. All right. So the idea is that it is not more or less. Pain is pain. Do you think man has more tolerance towards the pain? No. Sometimes men become so much overwhelmed that they can't bear the pain. In our bodies, pain receptors are more than pleasure receptors. Okay? That's a medically proven fact. So when Krishna is telling, if this whole world is painful, there's nothing wrong in it. We are accountable. The choice of God or mammon is always up to us. Although we may blame external forces for our addictive, manipulative, or selfish activities, we can't escape our own ultimate responsibility. All right. So, here comes. We often feel affection for those who reinforce our illusion about ourselves. By the same token, we generally have no time for people who refuse to support our faulty self-concepts. We like to hear something good about ourselves, even though we do not deserve. The ultimate outcome is confusion and unhappy relationship because we are not willing to grow. We are not willing to grow. Why do people make themselves suffer and create so much pain in relationships? They are responsible to create miseries for themselves. Even unwillingly or unintentionally, or even because they do not know by ignorance. All right. Are we in control of how we develop ourselves in our growing years? Let's see. What is meant by peer pressure? It is a social pressure by members of one's peer group to take a certain action, adopt certain values, or otherwise conform in order to be accepted in that particular group who influences us. Peers are people who are part of the same social groups, so the term peer pressure refers to the influence that peers can have on each other. Even the high school they have also some kind of peer pressure on them. Right? Let's see. Although peer pressure does not necessarily have to be negative, the term pressure implies that the process influences people to things that they may be resistant to or might not otherwise choose to do, as if they are forced to do. So usually the term peer pressure refers to socially undesirable behaviors such as experiment with sex, alcohol, drug use, like that. And this is pressurizing the whole society of the whole world by somebody exerting the pressure. Let's see. The same pressure, if it is used on a constructive basis, that it will be a desirable behavior, such as advancement by academic success, moral, religious, and spiritual activities. They also exert a pressure, but this will be desirable. Right? Now, consider following what is an undesirable situation that we have accepted as norm of life. Someone said, let all the women have abortions if they want. And they won't have to tell their families or even their husbands. And we said, okay. Women sleep. All right? Then someone wise, gentle government official said, since boys will be boys and they are going to do it anyway, let's give them, the men, all the condoms they want, so they can have all the fun they desire. And it was also approved. They start giving in the grade 9th in this high school. Then some of our top officials, they say something. It doesn't matter what we do in private as long as we do our jobs. Agreeing with them, we said, it doesn't matter to me with anyone, including the president does in private, as long as I have job and economy is good. These two are a recent manifestation of pressure. The entertainment industry said, let's make TV shows and movies that promote profanity, violence, and illicit sex. Let's record the music that encourage rape, drug, murder, suicide, and satanic themes. And we said it is just entertainment. It has no adverse effect. Nobody takes it seriously anyway. So go right ahead. And they created a hell when that sadhu wanted to become modern, Ram Rahim, what is his name? And Hissar, Punjab, Haryana. Huh? Ah. Ram Rahim Insan. People manufacture themselves. But nonetheless, his show was censored. But profanity will be allowed. That's the censor board.
Now there is Radhe Ma. There is a lady called Radhe Ma.
Everybody comes from Punjab and Haryana. Now we are asking ourselves, why our society has no conscience? Why people don't know right from wrong? And why it doesn't bother them to kill strangers, their families, and even themselves? So, this is the scheme of Mother Nature, and Krishna is the controller. So, better understand this. According to our families and situation we are born into, we may be affected by different modes of nature by the peer pressure. Actual pressure is given by the modes of material nature. So there are 3 examples here. If we are born into a disruptive or dysfunctional family involved in intoxication, illicit activities, sex, gambling, and meat eating, we will be negatively impacted by this peer pressure into similar activities. Is it easy to understand? No objection? Let's go for the second one. If we are born into a successful and ambitious family, we will be affected by attachment to careers, families, and enjoying life. We will be characterized by never finding true satisfaction despite material so-called success. Career-oriented woman wants to become prominent, compete with men, but at home, all the vessels strike with each other. The third one, if we are fortunate to be born into a pious and religious family, we will be influenced by the mode of goodness to act piously. We will be able to act according to proper and religious conduct. So, our conduct is dictated. We call behavior. Our actions speak louder than words. So these are the 3 modes of material nature, Krishna describes on 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita from 5th verse to 13th verse. And how they act, we see this general situation, if there is a stimulus, because we have consciousness, so we respond through the medium of consciousness, but our consciousness can be polluted by previous conditioning or the peer pressure. So these are the mode of ignorance and mode of passion that give us an immediate, passionate and ignorant responses. But similarly, if we are born in the pious family where mode of goodness has to respond, how does it do? We use the intelligence. Their mode of goodness will be. If we are not using the intelligence, intelligence means it's a discriminating faculty between what is eternal and what is temporary. This is the spiritual definition. Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate asat, ubayor api drashtvanta tattadarshibihi. The seekers of truth have realized that for one that is eternal, there is no cessation. And one that is temporary, there is no endurance. Temporary means constant changing, no endurance. But the reality will be based on how do we use our intelligence. It doesn't involve the mind. If you involve mind in choosing what is real and what is false, you are a gone case. You should be admitted right away into psychiatric department. Mind is very fluctuating. You can't trust. Better trust your intelligence, but this should be spiritual intelligence, not material intelligence. Material intelligence means just storing more information which is going to determine your so-called IQ, but it has nothing to do with the intelligence. Information is stored in the mind, right? But it is the duty of the intelligence to discriminate and take out only those which are beneficial to you. Mind will tell, oh, I like this and I like that. But who cares of your liking? This is good for you, better take it even though you don't like it. That is discrimination. So intelligence has a function to discriminate between what is eternal and what is temporary. Why do we dwell on temporary, immediate results, which are going to fleet and change and cheat us? So it depends upon what kind of predominant mode of material nature we are associating with that creates. This is a beautiful illustration, how in nutshell the effect of the peer pressure is there. Right? Peer pressure brings on habits that affects one's destiny. Let's see. You sow a thought, you reap an action. You sow an action, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. Sow a character, reap destiny. These are the 4 steps. Simply by contemplating, this situation will come. So, why not join in and become part of our group? That is the pressure existing. All right? Because we associate with this. You are all Krishna conscious, brainwashed people, right? Somebody must have indoctrinated. Why don't you join and come and attend the class? Was it not a peer pressure? But it is good. It's not a negative, it is positive because it will resolve the situation. All right. After all, if everybody does it, it can't be that bad, can't it be? But you can see, for bad influences and bad habits have been developed, there are so many groups. For good, we are only a few in the whole Melbourne city. Right? But it will be a big deal. We easily succumb to the norm of that group we are associating. For those who are, in mode of ignorance, they cultivate bad habits. Then we question, why bad habits are bad even though they feel good? In America, they manufactured the cigarette called Cool. And Prabhupada would comment, rascal does not know that he is smoking fire and he says cool. It's in the tape. He smokes fire and he thinks he's cool. So, feeling good means what? Cheating sense perception. It does not realize. So these are the 4 bad habits that we are supposed to refrain from and see the consequences about, say, illicit sex. One loses purity, wisdom, peace of mind, self-confidence, cleanliness, concentration, determination, power of inquiry, power to grasp, discriminating power, and many other subtle qualities that require to face the problem of material existence. They are the positive weapons. They are the positive ammunition. Sure shot. Okay, nudity. When animals are slaughtered, their minds are filled with negative emotions of fear and violence leading to adrenaline secretion. When we eat their meat, our mind becomes filled with similar negative emotions. Enjoy. No intoxication. Drugs initially give a feeling of elation, but soon make one glide down to depression. By consuming intoxicants, your mind is not of your own anymore. It gives immediate flickering gratification without caring for the most dangerous consequences, sometimes even death. Gambling leads to daydreaming, stripping us of the mental energy to utilize present opportunities. Becoming greedy to accumulate money, one may beg, borrow, steal, or even go to the extent of murder. So, these are the harmful agents to your body, mind, and well-being. Non-veg means meat, fish, seafood, eggs. Intoxication means alcohol, drugs, tobacco, pan masala, tea, coffee. Gambling means horse race, stock market speculation, casino, lotteries, quick buck business. Illicit sex means extramarital sex, obscene films, vulgar talks. So, we need to understand our mind. If mind is not controlled, will it be able to make us happy? No. Will it be positive? No. Will it be a friend? No. Will it make us active? No. Will it give peace? No. So, Krishna is explaining earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and fallen ego, all this together, 8 comprises or constitutes my separated material energies. But besides this, Almighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind which comprise the living entities who are exploiting the resources of material nature, this inferior nature. So, Jiva is superior nature, and he is indulging in inferior nature. It's an incompatible situation. While getting married, you show your compatibility chart, right? We have to see what is compatible and incompatible. The compatibility depends upon what are our positive traits. All created beings have their source in these 2 natures. Of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world, know for certain that I am both the origin as well the dissolution. Are we our mind? Stop mental speculation, Jad Bharat. The living entities in this conditioned world are my fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the 6 senses, which include the mind. And we keep on carrying our hallucination. How does it take us? The living entity in the material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another as the air carries aromas. Thus he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another. The living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, eyes, tongue, nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects. How a different species of life is formed is according to the sense perception. How he has abused that sense in the previous life becomes the subject of change of that sense perception in a particular animal. So we create our own species by cultivation or coming in association with those modes, and they have been abused through our senses. The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of the modes of material nature. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this. So we have to develop the study groups of the different situations that we face and how to overcome lower modes by superior modes. How does the mind act? Intelligence is the decision maker. Mind is the storehouse of habits, unfulfilled desires and previous experiences. So mind wants to engage the 5 senses. But intelligence has to keep on interfering with the function of mind. Otherwise, if intelligence stops functioning, he becomes a mental case. He becomes a mental case, must be admitted. Here, this illustration in Kathopanishad is describing the 5 horses that drive the chariot of the body. There are 5 senses, Mind is the rein, intelligence is the driver, and soul is the passenger. We think we drive our body. No. Where is the intelligence? The steering is given in the hands of intelligence. Just like Krishna has nothing to do with the matter. The spirit soul, who is pure part and parcel of the Lord, doesn't have anything to do with the matter. But that old age, our enviousness to load it over separately from Krishna, we are employing in this material world. The same mistake, we continue birth after birth. So therefore, spiritual life is needed to be exposed and explained and practiced. Let's see. Smoking habit is there and a mental dialogue. Mind feels, I'm an engineer, I should know how to hold a cigarette at least. Because that's my, what we call, fancy. My personality will change if I hold a cigarette in a particular style. But that's a bad habit, intelligence is thinking. Not good for you. Your parents won't like it to see you doing this. You may become addicted to it. Don't get into the wrong track. I think it's fun. Everyone is doing it anyway. I should experience what's life at least once. The mind keeps on arguing. But you fool, why do you hurt yourself by this bad habit that wastes your money, ruins your good health, and may cause you cancer in future? Stop it. Don't even dream about it. It's a definitive action intelligence can take. Mind, don't rely upon it. It's your enemy number one because you have not conquered it. You have been defeated by your mind. If mind is stronger, mind will win and you succumb to bad habit. And if intelligence is stronger, you can resist the temptation. The choice is ours. Thank you. We need to develop spiritual intelligence. And that we will develop after lunch.
Maharaj, another funny question.
Funny question.
You said when men are attached to women, they in the next life they become women, and likewise also women become men. But in India they are middlemen. What are they then?
They are called transgender. You are just like a tube light sparkling now. We already talked about it. They are called transgender. Eunuch. They have a voluntary choice to become. No imposition. But nonetheless, they have stronger bodily attachment than the heterosexuals. So, spiritual life should be more concentrated by them. They will not be able to concentrate. Stronger the bodily attachment, less is the perception of spirituality. Prabhupada said, don't waste your time after them. They are unfortunate people. In Chicago, Prabhupada, his Sankirtan was appreciated by city officials. One superintendent of the jail came to Srila Prabhupada. He said, Swamiji, you are doing wonderful job. Can you help us to make this insane society of the criminals better? He says, yes, give us space and we can go and do the Sankirtan, distribute book, and they will change their heart. But what about those who are deaf and dumb, blind? Prabhupada said, they are unfortunate. Christians are doing so much service, but none of them is coming out from bodily conception of life, because Christianity does not believe in that. They simply want to live in the land of milk and honey flowing by hook or crook. Otherwise, wherever they go, they want to make such a nation where milk and honey is flowing. They made America. Milk and honey. And they are struggling now. Any question? Yeah.
On one of the slides, Maharaj, it was written about illicit sex, that it leads to less self-confidence. But what we see in present world is actually the contrary of that. So,
which one is it?
it was
It says downturns of illicit sex, you lose purity, self-confidence.
Yes, yes.
so yeah, it decreases our self-confidence.
Self-confidence,
Yes,
yes,
Maharaj.
definitely. The self has to rely not on the sense gratification. Sense gratification will make you more sentimental, because it is not going to be fulfilling your desires. It will aggravate your desires more and more. If you become sensitive by understanding that this is a cheating experience, you will tend to control it and you will have a better option. You'll be more happier if you are controlling the desires.
Thank you, Maharaj.
That's the one. Yeah, Hariba.
Maharaj, just from the practical application, trying to understand treating all living entities like one's own children. One of the slides. So I always like Rashmi, even when we get a spider at home, she tries to bring a paper and tries to remove it in that kind of way, take it outside kind of thing. And me sometimes I just go with the spray kind of thing.
Watch out. Implications. Prabhupada said that if you keep your house clean, unwanted will not come. But if you invite them, then treat them as your guest. Don't kill them. It's your duty to feed them. Right. There is an anecdote. Tamal Krishna Maharaj was a personal secretary of Srila Prabhupada. They came to Mayapur and there were a lot of mosquitoes. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj didn't have mosquito net, so he was sleeping. But he can't sleep. So somehow or another, in one sleep, one mosquito perished. But he felt not good, so he revealed his mind to Srila Prabhupada. So Prabhupada, mosquitoes were so treacherous, so somehow or other one died out of my hand. Prabhupada said, "Oh, you killed mosquito." And Krishna Maharaj was shrinking. Prabhupada is going to, "You should have allowed him to suck your blood and then kill." And it was so disgusting. He said, "I will never kill a mosquito." Prabhupada wants to indicate that people are harassed, just seeing that the red belly of mosquitoes, they will slap him harder, so everything will splatter. Prabhupada said, devotees are not interested even in killing an ant. But if you see a snake amongst loitering devotees, they said, when my Guru Maharaj Bhaktivedanta Saraswati was giving class in Bagh Bazaar temple in Calcutta, a big snake was crawling and there was a commotion. So he stopped the lecture and said, "What's going on?" They said, "Guru Maharaj, big snake." So Bhaktisiddhanta said, "Kill him! Kill him!" And devotees killed him. Then he explained. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said, Vrachik sarpani hatya sadhurevapi modate. The sadhus enjoy killing the envious mentalities. So, enmity, those who are envious, they have to be nullified. Otherwise, they will kill. Unprovoked, even the snakes will bite because they are competing with this space. If they are displaced, they will come. In the recent floods of Mayapur, how many snakes were also coming? Because everybody looks and they all love the long building. So everybody would be situated on the top of on the long building, and snakes also want to come on the long building, even in the boat. So the boatman takes and patang. Don't take chance. A devotee's life is more precious. There you can put up but indiscriminately, if Dhruva went to kill all the yakshas and the serpents, remember? They were falling by his determination, but the Lord says, "Stop it, Dhruva. For one responsible person to kill your brother, you can't exterminate the whole race. Stop it." A pure devotee like Dhruva, he has to be interfered in decision making. So Dhruva says, "Okay, thank you very much." And he stopped it. So we have to discriminate. How do we do? Make sure that they do not come. All right, thank you. Hare Krishna.